Hi friends, and welcome to Crumbz from Gerard. Today's reading is from Acts chapter 9. As Paul journeyed, he approached Damascus, and suddenly a light from heaven flashed about him. And he fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And he said, Who are you, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. But rise and enter the city, and you will be told what you are to do. The incident is one of the most famous transformations, personal transformations that we have, a conversion story. It's so famous that in the book of Acts alone, 3 times it is mentioned. Let us try to understand what must have been going on in the mind of Paul during this whole period and before it. First of all, remember, it was Paul who was there at the time of the death of Stephen, and he was the one who seemed to be consenting to his death. And I'm sure when he saw Stephen dying and his face like an angel, he must have been wondering in himself and saying, how could this man, who we thought was a bad man, have a face of an angel at his death? There was something much, much more over here. And this must have led him into some kind of crazy madness. And so he goes around persecuting the Christians in Jerusalem. And when he hears that some Christians have escaped and gone all the way to Damascus, he gets a letter so that he can go to Damascus and get them back to Jerusalem to hold them on trial. And this whole journey to Damascus, about 7 days on foot, Paul's mind must have been going on with what was happening. What happened to Stephen? How could the Christians that he was persecuting still be at so much peace, even in the midst of such persecution? And then on the way to Damascus, he passed Galilee, the place where Jesus himself lived and the place where Jesus carried on his mission. And that must have once again put his mind into a kind of crazy reflection. What exactly is this movement? And when he reaches close to Damascus, then he has this transforming experience where he sees a light, he hears a voice, and he falls to the ground. And then what happens? Paul, who normally took decisions, decided what to do, when to do, and how to do it, hears this voice that finally says, Now Paul, get up, go into the city, and I will tell you what to do. The voice doesn't give him clear directions. Will tell you. First of all, Paul was the one who normally took decisions. Now, the voice of God, the voice of Jesus himself. And no clear direction, just I will tell you. Open to the will of God. A man who decided for himself, now open to God's will. And therefore now, think about this. Are you self-controlled or God-controlled? In such situations, do you or would you wait for God's guidance? 1. If you had to make an important decision, like buy a house or choose a spouse. 2. Deciding on taking the COVID vaccine. 3. What to say to someone you phone and know has a serious sickness. 4. Making your plans for the next day. How much is God part of your decision making?